While we talk about common mental health conditions, I wanted to touch base on the definition of both anxiety and depression. Do you remember back in our common illnesses that anxiety and depression were two of the most common illnesses in young people? So I just want to tell you exactly what those things are. We'll start with depression. So depression's got a real, it's a medical diagnosis, okay? And it as everybody knows, including me, it's pretty normal to feel sad and stressed relatively occasionally. People who get depressed actually have a change of the chemicals in their brain that's a neurologic change that makes it difficult for them to bounce out of feeling sad so they can't go back to their normal happy phase. And it happens to people where you get a certain amount of sort of hits to your psyche. For an adult, somebody might fall into depression if their car breaks down and they can't use it anymore all of a sudden. Or and then also they can't pay their rent. And then also their best friend goes in the hospital. And then also somebody insults them in a conversation. And over time, enough stuff happens to their psyche that it's just a little harder to bounce back and wake up in the morning and still feel okay about things. And that's basically how depression happens because it slowly but surely changes the neurochemistry in our brain. So it basically means that you have to feel tired for over 2 weeks. It comes with really noticeable changes in people's daily functionings, and these are the top symptoms of depression. So changes in sleep, some people can't sleep at all, other people sleep all the time when they're depressed. Appetite changes, people can gain a lot of weight, interestingly, because they are trying to eat all the time to make themselves feel better, or they lose weight because they're just not interested in regular meal times, and they stop doing the stuff that they really used to like to do. Biggest thing is feeling guilty and feeling worthless. You start to feel like everything is your fault, and it's just not worth it for you to keep going on with what's more difficult in your life. So when people have depression, they need to see their doctor because truly there's medicine that will make that better, but we can avoid depression with using some of the techniques that I'm going to talk about next. So, depression can be avoided by helping people build up their coping skills so that when nasty things happen to them during life, they have better ways to handle that situation. Anxiety is this weird, ruminating feeling where you just keep wondering to yourself what's going to happen and you know it's going to be something bad. It's called the what if sort of thing. What if my friends don't like my outfit? What if the boy doesn't call me back? What if I don't get a good grade on this test? What if I don't get into the school club that I want to get into? And people start, it's ruminating. They can't stop feeling that feeling. And when people feel anxiety, that's something else that you can learn skills around. Anxiety is a very physical feeling. It actually makes people's heart rates go higher. It makes their blood pressure feel a little bit more nervous. People can get kind of shaky. It's really a physical thing. And both depression and anxiety can be dealt with the coping skills that we're going to talk about that we put in the book. So the things that we chose to put in this book have been absolutely documented as effective techniques to help people strengthen their mental health. So what is mental health? I don't even think we started with that. It's feeling psychological well-being. Mental health is having your spiritual and your physical and your social and your inner worlds come together in a way that makes you feel like a good person. Like you're doing okay in this world. That's good mental health. And we all want everyone to have that. And these things that we talk about are the best ways to help continue to have good mental health when you're coping with other things. What skills can we teach our kids to help them come back from the inevitable mental health challenges that they are going to face in life? So we put, I think, 3 things into this book that have been proven research that they work to help people hang in there when times are tough. The first one I want to talk about is the 6 C's of character development. So we've been teaching these for a while, and the World Health Organization in April of 2025 just designated these 6 C's as one of the ways to prevent teenagers from having early sex. And that's amazing because we're not talking about getting them on birth control. We're not talking about intervening on sexually transmitted diseases. We're talking about integrity. And so we can teach this to our children without talking to them about things that are age inappropriate or anything like that. So these things are wonderful. And I'll just quickly touch on what they are. But you can read about this a little bit more, and you can read on the inside about engaging youth and how important this is. So we start with connection, which is just a feeling of safety in some place, right? You guys have this with the child space outside where the kids get to play and have a good time. You have it in the sewing rooms where those girls are learning how to do a great thing together, right? We have it actually in this room because you all are going to end up being a team at the end of this training. You're the facilitators. You're going to be going to make sure that the schools are doing the right thing. You're going to all end up being better friends with each other now than you were before. Confidence, that means being good at something and feeling confident about doing that. We should instill confidence in all of our children, not fake confidence like, oh, you're such a good dancer when they're not a good dancer, but teach them something that they're really good at. If they've got good penmanship, tell them. If they're good at speaking to adults, tell them, help them get confidence in that. Character. That's taking responsibility for yourself and for other people. Character is so important. If you make a mistake, own up. That's something we can model to people. If you want people to tell you the truth, to follow up with their things on time, that's character. Caring is also incredibly important. If you see somebody who's having a bad day, feel comfortable in reaching out to them and saying, wow, you look like things are awful right now. I care about you. Is there anything I can do to help? So, encouraging caring is also goes into connection and community. Contribution, incredibly important. I worry deeply about organizations and situations in which there are a group of people who are only on the receiving end. Because if you only receive and you don't contribute back, you get a very skewed sense of what the world's about and a very skewed sense about what you can do in the world to create agency for yourself. So being able to contribute is really important. And even if that's something just as little as I'm going to plant this tree in the ground, I'm going to plant this seed in the ground, or I'm going to wash this dish, contributing to organizations as a whole is really, really important for people. And then last is competence. And that's why we have kids in school. People have to be able to be good at something, right? You've got to have a skill that you're competent at. It's another reason I like Make Me Smile. We're teaching barber skills here. We're teaching everybody how to do young life, which is what we call children's things. You all have great confidence in the different skills that you're doing. It's really important to have that. So these 6 C's are the reason that we educate people and the reason we come together as groups. And having these characteristics in your life are going to make you more resilient in the face of mental health illness. There's also something called an emotional wellness checklist. This is also proven over and over and over again to be a really effective way to help people be resilient in the face of tough times. And so as you go through these emotional wellness checklists for yourself, notice the ones that make the biggest difference to you. So resilience is an incredibly important characteristic. Reduce stress by recognizing when you're overloaded. I'm terrible at this. I always have too much on my plate. But if you're overloaded, it's just fine to take a break, go down to the park, go to the lake, which I should have done with you guys yesterday. That stuff is important. Sleeping is incredibly important. We all need to sleep 8 hours a day. There's so much research on how that helps your neurology reset. It allows your blood pressure to go down. It's a remarkable thing. Be mindful. So, awareness and appreciation, that comes in the form of religion. It comes in the form of appreciating how beautiful the green leaves are outside, appreciating the food in front of you, appreciating the opportunity to teach and the opportunity to learn. Appreciation is an incredibly important skill, very easy to teach and really easy to use within yourself. So that's another great resilience skill. Coping with loss. Recognize that if something bad happens, feel terrible about it. And it's okay to feel terrible for a little while. It's okay to feel terrible for a long time. It took me years to not be in active grief after my mom died. It was an incredibly hard thing for me. But I still lose her. I still feel loss for her and grief, but I've coped with it over the years and I've gone on with my life. But I still am so sad that she doesn't know I'm doing this right now. And that makes me really sad. But I have to cope with it and know that it's okay. I'm going to go on with my life. And that's coping with loss and in a healthy way. And hopefully, I'm making her proud up there somewhere, which would be amazing. And strengthen our social connections. Don't let yourself get isolated if you're feeling bad. It's so easy to not connect with other people when you're feeling bad. It's much easier to not tell anybody or to stay at home or to do whatever, sit in the shade, miss your lecture. And it's much better to just get out there and keep your connections going. Because guess what? Every single person in this room is hurting for some reason or another, right? We all have something bad we're dealing with right now. But we're all here. And that's good because that strengthens our connections, which allows us to have more resilience, allows us to appreciate the things around us, allows us to build our confidence. And all of those things give us the balance in life that help us negotiate really strong mental health challenges.